You may have heard before that Tails was originally meant to be a female, but instead of going with that choice, they decided to make Tails into a boy with a voice that sounds exactly like a female and nothing like a male. Okay, well, he hasn't always sounded like a female. I think the first Sonic game I played that had voice acting in it was Sonic Riders, and as a kid I thought Tails was female until I heard one of the other characters refer to Tails as a he. Tails sounds like more of a girl than Amy Rose.
What's that? The cause of all my troubles. I picked it up and those stupid robots came after me. So that's it. Those things must be after this stone.
What the man? How did anybody not say anything? Amy Pallant should have just voiced Amy Rose or something. Amy voicing Amy. Ever since Amy Pallant was replaced, Tails has sounded more like a boy, but still not quite. There are women out there that can actually sound like a young male.
Cut it out, there's nothing funny about that. Nope, still nothing. But the magnetic storm seems to be affecting the sensors just a little. Wow, totally cool! Damn, then that means that even if the bomb doesn't go off in the 5 hours that they've programmed it for, then... You don't mean what I think you mean. Yeah, I wonder what that treasure is anyway.
But for some reason, they keep getting women that can barely do that at all. Just hire child actors if you're having this much trouble. There are probably man voice actors that could do a better job at voicing a young male.
Nick Robinson here for Polygon, and today I'm joined by Simon Tomley, aka Stealth.
Hello.
Anyways, let's go over each of the voices Tails has been given in English and Japanese. We'll start with Christopher Welch, who voiced him in The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
You don't have time for that, Captain Ken. We've got to open that door.
It's a good voice in my opinion, and it fits how he looks in the series. It fits that younger Tails. Next up is Bradley Pierce, who had voiced him in Sonic Satam.
Sally'll love these. I can't wait to give them to her.
It sounds a lot like the previous one, it fits well and all that stuff. Next up is Christopher Turner, who voiced him in the special Sonic Christmas Blast episode of The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Are you sure you want to do this? Robot-tropolis is always dangerous.
I like it a lot. Next up is Lainey Frazier, who had voiced him in the Sonic OVA movie.
I finally finished it! See, isn't it great?
Tails here has this accent or whatever going on where he sounds like he has a cold or something. I'm fine with that, it actually sounds kind of cool. However, the voice does sound kind of girly. Next up is Corey Bringas, who had voiced him in Sonic Adventure.
Everything's working great! All systems go, full speed ahead!
Pretty good voice for Tails in my opinion. Next up is Connor Bringas, who had voiced him in Sonic Adventure 2.
There's no mistake about it. This must be the island. It's a secret military base that is reinforced and super strong.
It's a little higher pitched, but still mostly sounds like a boy. Next up is William Corkery, who had voiced him in Sonic Heroes.
Hey look! It's Sonic!
It's a lot higher pitched, but for the most part it doesn't sound too girly. Sometimes it can every now and then though. I preferred the Bringas brothers' tone of voice for Tails. Next up is Amy Pallant, who started voicing him after William Corkery.
So that's it. Those things must be after this stone.
Pure garbage. This doesn't sound male at all, it just sounds like a girl. It's the reason I assumed Tails to be a girl when I was a kid. Terrible voice for the character. Next up is Kate Higgins, who voiced him next.
No doubt, but now I'm not sure why we're here. This place looks totally harmless.
Huge improvement, but that doesn't mean it's good, it's just that Pallant's performance wasn't good at all. Next up is Colleen O'Shaughnessy, who had voiced him next.
This guy is faster than Sonic!
It doesn't sound too much different than Kate Higgins' voice for Tails, and it still sounds girly. Now to the Japanese voices for Tails. Starting with Kazuki Hayashi, who had voiced him in Sonic Adventure. For the most part, he sounds like a boy here. He has this cool accent here that I really like. Next up is Atsuki Murata, who had voiced him in Sonic Adventure 2. It's a little higher pitched, it sounds like, and it sounds more babyish, but it's alright. Next up is Ryo Hidehashi, who had voiced him next.
悔しいけど、相手のメカニックはすごいセンスを持ってる。ソニック、きっと相手のギアの速さの秘密を見つけてくるよ。
Sounds like a boy sometimes, but for the most part I can tell that it's a girl voicing him. Next up is Takuto Yoshinaga, who had voiced classic Tails in Sonic Generations. Okay, this is really funny here because classic Tails here sounds more like a boy than modern Tails. Just listen.
エッグマンをさらっていたあのでかいやつに関係がありそうだね。君らの仲間を連れ去ったやつと同じみたいだね。あ、僕たちのか。頭がこんがらがっちゃうよ。
Next up is Hikiro Shina, who had voiced him in the Sonic OVA.
大統領とセーラを人質にしてこのサウスアイランドを乗っ取るつもりでしょ。
Sounds completely like a girl. So apparently the adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic Satam were dubbed in Japanese, but I can't find any clips of it anywhere, so if I could I would go over the voices for them there. Anyways, I don't have anything against any of these voice actors personally, of course, because I don't even know them, so don't act like I hate them. I may dislike the performances of certain actors or actresses, but that's it. Imagine if one of the female characters actually sounded male and it was supposed to be taken seriously. Hopefully you get it. Alright, so this is a bonus recording that I decided to throw in here after the original recording so that I could say that voice actors and actresses need to be convincing. They need to sound like what they're trying to be, not sound like a poor impression of what they're trying to be. These aren't convincing voice actresses. I've been around friends and family members who don't know much about the Sonic series and they just assume that Tails is a girl based on his voice. Then I just explain to them that the actress is attempting to sound like a young male. Of course fans are going to go, "He sounds boyish enough to me." Well, yeah, that's because you're used to it by now. Some people actually say that Amy Palin is the best voice for Tails, so that just shows you how much nostalgia can blind somebody. Don't get too used to something.